Now we'd like to take a few moments to familiarize you with the displays that come on the Express console and what you're looking at on the monitor. There's actually quite a bit of information being displayed on the monitor, but it all makes sense if you just kind of break it down into various sections. We'll start right in the middle, which is one of the most obvious areas of the display, and this is basically just your channels. So it's the channel number, and if there's any level associated with the channel, it will show you that in a percentage from nothing all the way up to full. But there's actually quite a bit more information that's on this monitor than just channels, so let's go over those areas right now. Up here in the upper left-hand corner is your global settings area. This will tell you what your Grandmaster is set to, if it's at 100% or if it's not at 100%. Those are typically things you'd want to know, so that will always display your Grandmaster status, as well as Submaster page. The console has various Submaster pages, which will be important to know, so that information is displayed rather prominently, so that you can at one glance check to see what that's set to. Right in the middle, this area will always tell you what display you're currently in, as well as the time, the current time, provided you've set the time properly on your desk. Right now we're in stage, but those various displays can be blind, patch, or setup. We're going to be spending our time right now in stage because this is where a lot of the information is displayed, and you'll spend a lot of time in the stage display. Up here in the upper right is another very important area of the display. It's called the keypad corner. It's a bright blue box for a reason. It wants to grab your attention. This area will tell you what you've typed on the keypad. It's kind of important to know as you're typing commands into the desk. For instance, if I type 12, it will tell me that I've typed 12 and it's referencing a channel. So that's usually very helpful to know as you're typing a lot of numbers to expect that the desk will tell you what number you've typed. It's kind of convenient that way. Another very critical area of the display, right down here in red, we call this the command prompt. It's in red for a reason because you'll refer to that quite a bit. What's great about the Express console is that the command prompt will always tell you what it's expecting from you as the operator. For instance, right now it says select channel numbers. Well, that means that if I start typing on my keypad numbers, it's going to refer to channels, and my keypad corner now indicates that I have typed channel 12. That will change depending on what the console is expecting. Like if I hit the dimmer button, it's going to say select dimmer numbers. If I press the at key, it will say select a level. So the command prompt is very important. We will refer to that quite a bit, as oftentimes that can get you out of a bind. If you don't know what the console wants, just read the red prompt and it will tell you. Below the command prompt are a series of gray boxes. Each one of them has a specific function. We'll start with these two over here. These are your playback status indicators. Each of the two fader pairs, the AB and the CD fader pair that we talked about in hardware, each have their own status display. What these little boxes will tell you are what cue is currently running in that fader, how much time is left before that cue is finished, and any other relevant information about the cue that's playing in those faders. The larger gray box to the right of that is a cue list. This will show you various information about all of the cues you have running, your current cue. It will also show you the cues that have just happened and the cue that is slated to happen next. It gives you some other basic information in a column format, like the cue number, its time, things like that, so you can get a quick glance of your cue sheet right there. Below your fader playback status indicators are the attribute bar. This is the area that will tell you what entity, like a cue or a submaster, that I'm currently working with or editing. So oftentimes it will just tell me the current cue. If I change the cue timing or if I'm working with a submaster, it will indicate kind of what I'm doing right there in that bar. So that's an area that you want to pay attention to. Along the bottom of the display, other than the command prompt, probably one of the most important areas of these displays, these are your actual soft keys. If you remember from the hardware overview, we talked about S1 through S8. These are the commands that those buttons correspond to, and these will change depending on the display that you're in. A key that we always want to point out is S7. In almost every case, S7 will be something called more soft keys. It's a more soft keys soft key as opposed to a more soft keys hard key. So if I press S7, it will actually change for me some of the options available to me in the soft keys. And on some displays, there could be as many as 3 different layers of these soft keys. So it's important to remember that. Oftentimes, you'll be looking for a feature and you'll know the console can do it, but you can't find the key for it. Just remember to check your soft keys, and also remember to check more soft keys. Sometimes the feature might be buried on a different layer. There are other displays that we will look at, for instance, patch and setup. Those come later in different parts of the training, but for now, that's the overview of your stage display, and one of the ones you'll most commonly use.